If I was the federation, I'd say I want 6 national 1 hour, 2 hour track and field events, and I want 3 international events. This is what we want out of it. We're inviting business promoters, agents to put forward proposals, and we'll do it on a licensing or a commercial arrangement like you have fast tracking. There are enough people that would be interested to do that. So just allow the free market and the business people to participate.
So let people almost compete for the
So-
right.
So what you have at the moment is Ilana down in Cape Town with Franz Rapino, one of our iconic sports people out of the rugby fraternity, have obtained a commercial arrangement with Western Province Athletics to commercialize the Cape Town Marathon. It's going to be a huge success, and it will grow tremendously. You need more of the federations recognizing their limitations, both at provincial level and at national level, say, let the business people that understand, and let's guard our interests by contracting smartly, but let's allow people to get on with sports marketing. And we'll look after selecting the team, making sure that we do development and put money aside out of the sponsorship. But there are people that have an appetite to do these things, promoters. So you have at Belgium, Bob Verbeek owns the Diamond League. He has his meet director, but Bob makes a business out of it. But it's good business and it's good for the sport. So allow business to be part of the sport.
Yeah.
The federation cannot run that, so I don't think it's their job.
So meets do happen, yeah. Whether you call it, whether it be through varsity athletics.
Yes.
Where I think it's in its third year, next year? Or next year, third year. So basically what it is on the evening 2-hour show, athletes from universities compete against each other, fireworks. It's exciting to be there. I've been on the other side where I've been in my previous job. I've been to Stellenbosch, Germiston, in terms of when we had our national championships. It was the most depressing thing ever.
Why?
The only spectators were the other athletes.
Ugh.
You get to the airport.
We've all been there.
No advertising. What do you expect? So, as I'm saying, things do happen, but to a certain extent, we're just not telling people about it. My view is build it and people will come. Athletics is exciting as it is. Whether we do 60, 150 meters, whatever it may be.
Is there a danger in that, though? Because I feel like sometimes we have this sort of a smug attitude where it's like, we are the greatest sport in the world. And if we have this meet, people will show up because we know how great these athletes are. And the public, in turn, should know how great these athletes are and what a great competition this is going to be. We have athlete X versus athlete Y, and they will show up. You think there's a little bit of a danger in sort of assuming?
The danger is there. And
That, to me, that if we build it, they will come.
We speak about football and rugby as the biggest sport.
Okay, yes.
They're also suffering from viewership
Really?
going down.
In this
Attendance at
country?
stadiums going down. So,
People aren't watching rugby in this country?
well, no, they are watching,
going
but
backwards.
I think that's the point.
But the
Darren
numbers are
Spencer,
declining.
I can watch
too much.
sport at any time.
It's not
On
about
a Saturday, I can sit at home and watch the English Premier League. I can watch the Springboks play
competition.
tomorrow. I
Premier
can,
League.
So the thing is, I can be at home and just watch. However, those programs that are being shown, to a certain extent, have an appeal to make me want to watch them. Are we selling a good product locally that makes people want to watch? It's a question mark.
Yes.
Hence my point around what is the package that we're selling. At the end of the day, it feels like it's like the equivalent of me going to ask for a job. Why should they hire me?
Yes.
Same question.
Well, Spencer, yeah, we've heard a lot of opinions.
I think, Atto, you and I have been quite involved with the IAAF. And to your point, and where I may differ slightly, is about building it and they will come. And I know you were referring to other sports. But, the IAAF this year went and had the so-called Old World Cup, which is now called the Continental Cup in Marrakesh in Morocco. Well, I was there. And to your point, there were 5 of my staff
gosh.
members.
Any of you guys watch that?
There were 5 of my staff members and some journalists and some agents and the athletes in the stadium. It was
The worst thing I've ever seen on TV. I've never seen anything worse on TV.
Completely empty. You had some of the biggest stars in world athletics there. Okay. Outside of maybe Usain, the rest were all there.
Yeah.
Okay. So you had all the talent in the world there, but yet you had a product that maybe the product is questionable, but maybe the venue is questionable, but for a number of reasons, it failed. Okay? To the point where I think there's a consideration now to scrap the event moving
Please.
forward. Okay? Because it just has no relevance. So in some ways, I'm answering some of the questions and saying that I think that maybe you don't need everybody that you think you do. Maybe it's the product that needs to be adjusted. Some of what Chris is saying is maybe make it more attractive. Let's get away from, the shot put happening over there and the long jump happening over there. I'm in this industry. I get paid to do this. I go to track meets and I get back to the hotel and I say, oh shit, excuse my French, who won the triple jump? I have no idea who
Right.
won the triple jump on the other side
Because
of
it
the
happened
track.
on the other side and they didn't do a good job of.
And I get paid to do this. Okay. I'm embarrassed to say that I go to track meets and there are certain events that I don't know who won because there's too much happening, there's too little focus on it, because there's no stories, there's a bad announcer, there's bad TV work or whatever. And so we need to change.
Presentation.
We need to change the product. Okay, so that's one thing. We need to change the product. But then I'd like to go, you asked, the initial question was, what do we need to do in a South African context? Now, maybe I'm not qualified to comment because I left the shores 14 years ago, but this still pumps.
You got your passport still.
This
We'll-
still pumps
we'll-
South Africa.
We'll listen
okay?
to you.
I think all we need to do, we've got a lot of will, and I think that's all we need, is we need the will to do it. Once we have the will, it will happen.
Absolutely.
I think athletics need to also realize that they're not the only game in town.
Amen to that.
Not just the only game in town. You're not the only attraction in town. So you
In other words, we need to stop being so smug, to my point just now about,
so you're in the game of entertainment, and the athletes
I
provide.
love the fact that you said entertainment and
So
not
you,
just
you,
sports.
you provide the theater and the athletes are on the stage, and you need the balance of South Africans to actually be excited about the product that you put up, which will then raise interest from a sponsor's perspective. He was talking about the Samuel Makakwe story. I mean, I've still never seen it. I heard about it. Imagine what a tragedy. That I could not see that anywhere, except for like a cell phone video. We profile the stuff that happens. So the partnership that Chris was talking about with the broadcaster makes the magic, so that we can also go back and show the young kids actually who we once were, so that we can get excitement in the build-up to these type of meetings, so that everyone is excited about it. Actually, people, do I want to go shop today, or maybe I shop tomorrow so that I can go to the athletics meeting? That must be our goal.
Spencer, it sounds like you're kind of preempting where I'm going next by saying that, sometimes you get back to the hotel and you literally don't know, you don't recall, or it wasn't made known to you, what the triple jump or what a certain event was. I want to sort of get the pet peeves, because I feel like we have such an amalgamation here of people involved at different levels. Give me your pet peeve. I'll go first. Your pet peeve as to what really, really bugs you when you look at sport on television. I already sort of alluded to it in my presentation with athletes who are incapable of conducting a proper interview. That's mine. When I go back home, it's 2014. You guys may not be aware of this. When the athletes cross the line at the national championships in my country, the clock doesn't stop. And I go, put people on the moon, sending rovers to Mars, and exploring the outer regions of space. And we can't get that clock to stop when that guy crosses the line. So literally, they cross the line, the clock goes 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, and it keeps running. And then 5 minutes later, they give you the time. Okay, so that's mine. I don't want to hog the time we have left. Tell me when you see, and maybe it's not necessarily athletics, but obviously we'd like to keep it in the form of athletics based on what our mandate here is. You watch sports on TV, and maybe it is athletics. What drives you crazy? Because I feel like there's some real value in everybody sort of voicing these things so that maybe we can address them.
I think the pet peeve for me is from a broadcasting perspective, particularly the broadcasting of athletics. And
Careful now.
It applies to track and field, and it applies to road running as well. I just feel there's a general lack of innovation in broadcasting. You see it in other sports, really pushing the boundaries.
Yes.
Football, some of the big US sports, and really trying to bring the viewer much closer to the sport and almost bring them as close as possible to the athlete experience. And look, I like road running, but to watch a marathon or an ultramarathon takes a huge amount of patience, especially in this,
Literally.
especially in what did you call this hummingbird generation. And I think there needs to be a big look at innovation in broadcasting, not just around road running, but about track and field as well. It's something that really, really frustrates me.
Yes.
Yeah, to that point, it's about the presentation. You know, the late Andy Norman told me once that the officials that he uses at the high jump are the shortest officials possible because it creates a perception that the guys are jumping over the moon.
I like that. That sounds like Andy Norman. That sounds like Andy.
So the presentation. Okay, so now you have javelin. You have the first athlete throwing 85 meters, Jan Zelezny, and everybody else struggling between 60 and 65.
Yes.
Reverse the order, let all the 65, 70s go
Go
first,
first.
and let the last guy come out and he puts the thing over the moon. It gives entertainment value. You let the 100 meters run. Don't let the men run first and then the woman. Let the woman run first and then the men, because it's going to look better when the men go a lot faster. So you need to understand that you're in the business of television entertainment. And when you're presenting a show, a new reality show, you have a pilot show. If it doesn't work, they kick the actors off.
Correct.
But we don't think about that when we present athletics. You need to engage the viewer.
Is athletics
Present it.
too much? Are we too much of us? Are we slaves too much to tradition?
Yeah.
Because I feel like he talked about the fact about, we're not the only game in town, and he mentioned entertainment. That resonates
We're
with me because I'm in
entertainment.
the business of television. Do we worry too much about being slaves to, as I said, the traditions, the grand, I call it, this is when we start to skew too much towards the chariots of fire. I'm like, nobody is coming out here to run in these white uniforms with the black spikes. So can we move away from that thinking?
I just
too much slaves to that?
think that you need to understand that the viewer wants to be entertained.
Yes.
They want to see good performance, but they want to hear people speak in an entertainment fashion. Your presentation this morning was actually part of an entertainment. People were engrossed, they were smiling, they were laughing. We need personalities like that on the athletics field. But the people that are scripting that are the meeting directors and the television directors. They need to understand up front, what are we going to present tonight? Is it just the 100-meter, or are we going to tell a story about the athlete where he or she came from and interview them after and says, how was that for you? You need to understand what the viewer wants to see and hear, otherwise your product won't sell.
There are people who say that that's the reason why track and that athletics suffers when it's a non-Olympic year. Because in the Olympics, to your point, the stories are already built in.
Correct.
Right? Sally Pearson, who got silver in Beijing, now she's back, and she beats the Olympic gold medalist back into silver, Dawn Harper Nelson, and now she's the Olympic. So she goes from bridesmaid to bride. I think you raise a very, very good point. Yes.
It's exactly that. And, I think one of the problems is that going into Olympics, everyone's prepared. And, for me, my pet peeve is commentators who think they know it. They front up. They, get it when they get there. They've got nothing to tell you. They know nothing about javelin or triple jump or anything else. So for me, it's about, and, I'll get back to you. Someone tell me I'm to come sit here and listen to 8 hours of athletics. You could have spoken till Sunday. I would have listened to you.
Yeah, no way
Because
to
you know
test
what
that.
you're talking about and you have an ability to do. And that for me, I think in a South African context, we're struggling from a communication perspective. Forget our athletes, our commentators, we are struggling badly. And they're not prepared, they're not eloquent enough, they're not entertaining enough. And we'll use the same guy for Comrades Marathon and probably throw him out there for javelin and triple jump as well.
Really?
And that doesn't work. And you all know who he is. I don't know, is Ian Laxton in the room? But I bet you,
Is he here?
I don't know, yeah, but I bet you that's what we do. And we'd probably let Alana go and handle, and that's what they'll do, and it's, that for me, it's around commentary. People who really know what they're talking about, who are entertaining and eloquent. Because it's entertainment.
Ilana.
I think athletes to really realize, to be spectator-friendly, spectator and media-friendly competitors. Every single athlete has got an incredible story, but that to be, projected through the productions.
I know the big conversation is about TV, can't broadcast.
You can take it in any direction you want.
I love sport, so I love going to live events. That just makes the experience a lot better, just being there. So my stress is about when you're at the live event, what happens when you're over there. I told you about The spectators
Kind of to
just-
Spencer's
the
point.
The spectators just being your family and the other athletes. Simple things. Invest in a tape. Just, I remember when
You said invest in a tape?
tape measure.
Oh, tape.
Bloody hell. There was one event we went to, I think a year or two ago. We spent like 10 minutes trying to figure out how far this guy jumped. I was like, bloody hell. What? It happened
Yes, yes.
over here. And I was just thinking, come on, I'm there. Why should I be wasting my time? Being here, I could have gone to the movies. I could have done whatever it is. But make it worth my while to come and attend this event again. Because one, if it's a great event, I'm going to tell people about it. People will come. If it's terrible, I'm going to tell people about it, and people won't come. And to a certain extent, it's easier now. I can just go on Twitter. Great event, Global Athletics Conference. People hear about it. Next year, I want to be there.
Yes.
Terrible event, Global Athletics Conference. Sorry, Leroy, I won't say it. But it's a great event. It's by default. And I think, so we just need to be cognizant that the way people communicate and sell stuff is no longer generally about the broadcaster to a certain extent. It's about word of mouth in terms of people being here. I'm sitting here with world champion marathon runners. I can hear the story. Maybe next day I just want to go to Berlin to go sit live for myself.
Of course, of course.
Because it suddenly made out to be such a great event. So I think it's also about, for the live viewer, what is in it for them as well.
All right, Spencer, so we know that one of your pet peeves, you didn't hear the triple jump result. But what else?
No, I think
Get an app.
it's quite clearly there is a Diamond League app, but it never works.
Yes, this is true.
The key thing is, as we've all said, I think in stadium there are a lot of opportunities. We're old school. We need to become new school.
Yes.
Do different things in the stadium with different events. Let's use lights. Let's put the shot put on in the middle of the track. Let's make sure on the actual grass, and make sure that nothing else is happening at that time. Give them their 5 minutes in the sun. To Chris's point, change the format of the event. Do something different. Give them less throws. Let's have fireworks. And when the guys are doing the high jump, it's over there. We've got a great competition now with two of the all-time greats jumping
That's
now,
right.
Bashim versus Bondarenko. Let's put them in the middle for once, and let's make them the highlights as opposed to just happening on the side there. I think we need to be creative of the on-field stadium event that we put on, which I think will resonate back to TV. That's the one thing. And the second thing is based on commentary. It's frustrating for me when I sit and watch the events and the commentators don't know the athletes. There are commentators that have been at the BBC, and Mr. Story, and if he was sitting right here, I would say it straight to him, doesn't know the athletes. When there's a men's 5K on, he talks about the fact that they're all wearing the same uniform. We had an instance, and this is a true example, Mr. Kipsang and Mr. Jeffrey Mutai, two of our athletes were wearing the same uniform in New York. They were the only two athletes wearing that uniform. It's a special uniform that our top athletes get. It's part of our campaign against cancer. Okay? We were asked by the New York Marathon to put them in different uniforms. We refused. We said that physically, if Mr. Kipsang is standing here and Mr. Mutai is standing here, they're both Kenyan. One is tall and thin. The other one is a little shorter. And their complexions are a little different. Their faces are different. They're two different individuals. Why should we change their uniforms? And the answer we got was because the press were having difficulty in identifying them. I'm sorry. If there are two athletes in a field of 30 that you can't identify, please get another job.
Amen.
Okay.
You only had one job.
Listen, when I come here, my job is to be facilitator and moderator. So I appreciate the fact that despite the fact that I am a broadcaster, that you guys are giving open, honest opinions as to what you believe is what sounds like a real deficiency in the broadcasting of this sport. Because it's not something that I go, oh, well, that's them and it's not me. I take these sorts of things to heart, and I feel like if you are open to criticism, that is the only way you can begin to improve. The people who don't improve, the people go, oh, no, he's not talking about me. No, because when I broadcast, I'm perfect. Go ahead.
Yeah, I think I'm going to add a different twist to the pet peeves because I think I'm from SAB. We make beer.
Thank God.
And
God bless you.
You may think that's very simple, but I think it's for all the people that run smaller and big federations, it's important to actually understand my business so that I don't get a proposal that I think it was meant for someone else. So it's very
Actually
important.
use someone else's name.
So
Right.
if you're gonna seek sponsorship would be a partnership. You need to actually at least understand what business they're in and what they're trying to sell. If you're not sure, ask. So that actually the proposal is going to be clear for me when I look at it. Is that what is it going to do for my product brand and so forth? And I'm sure it will be the same for ourselves.
So you get a lot of lazy
and
proposals.
the butchery. That's correct.
Ladies and gentlemen, I'd like to ask you to join me in thanking these 7 guests up here for a lively and entertaining and informative discussion. Thank you all very, very much. Back up to you.